Hello, today I'll be giving you my personal opinions on something. I'll be talking about overclocking. Overclocking is the process of increasing your graphical processing unit's performance above manufacturing spec. Now you can also do this with CPU and memory, but I do not overclock my CPU, but I do indeed overclock my GPU, and that's what we'll be talking about. Overclocking is the process of making your component run past the manufacturer spec. It's not hard to do, and if you include the time of installing the software I use, MSI Afterburner, it could only take you anywhere from about 5 to 10 minutes to get a very strong performance increase with your computer. Now, a lot of people, they don't like overclocking because they believe it's dangerous. Well, using MSI Afterburner, it's really not. I use it, and I've only ever hurt my computer once, but the way I did that was overvolting. And overvolting is usually only able to be done if you activate it in the settings manually. But normal overclocking is entirely safe, and if you ever were to hurt your computer, which you couldn't, and that's the thing, you can't really hurt your computer, because if you say I just went to MSI Afterburner, turn my clock slider all the way to the max, my computer would definitely shut down, but in theory it would reboot unless it had any thermal damage, which is unlikely. Now, overvolting is different. If you overvolt and say your computer starts to draw much too way many watts from the wall and your power supply just cannot keep up, well, guess what? Your computer will shut off, and if it draws way too much power, chances are you could be seeing and smelling black smoke coming from your power supply. But, as I said, usually, unless you're going for extreme clock speeds, you don't usually use overvolting, but sometimes you do. But I just wanted to say that really, overclocking is quite safe, and it should be done by anybody with a little bit of technology understanding. It is safe. Now, overclocking your CPU and overclocking your memory can lead to hardware problems, and even overclocking your GPU, I have to admit, will shorten the hardware's lifespan. But I believe if you use your computer for gaming, most people usually upgrade their computer around 3 to 4 times. 3 or 4 times a year is a lot. I meant to say upgrade their computer every 3 or 4 years. And if you do upgrade this often, you really do not have to worry about how long your hardware lives. So I believe anybody should, any gamer should overclock, and here's the reason I believe any average person should overclock. Now, you might be thinking why an average person using their computer for web browsing should overclock. And that's a very valid question. And the reason they should is to experience gaming. It's quite odd, I know, but really, gaming on a computer is something different compared to a console. And most people, they avoid gaming on PCs because they believe it's expensive, but I do not believe that. I believe it's cheaper than a console, actually. But that's not the point of why PCs are better than console. It's about overclocking. Now, overclocking can allow you to use average hardware, say for example, a very low-end graphics card from a while back, can get a very strong performance increase with a little bit of an overclock. That way you don't always have to buy top-of-the-end products. For example, I have an RX 580. Usually, it could be better than a 1060, but I have a low-end RX 580 from a manufacturer partner with AMD. I have the gaming Armor 4GB. Now, it's usually not considered as good as like a OC WindForce Ultra something 1060 6GB, but I can get to around the same speed as that graphics card with a little bit of an overclock, with not too much effort at all. I just have to boot into a benchmark software like 3D Mark. I open up my free MSI Afterburner and carefully mess around with some sliders that takes almost no time at all. And with just that little bit, I can usually get quite a bit of performance increase with for $0 really. Well, not exactly $0. The benchmark I use, 3D Mark, is actually $30. But there's many free benchmarks out there that are quite nice, like Passmark and User Benchmark. Those are free, I do believe. I'm not for sure, but I believe they are. And really just downloading 2 or 3 things, your benchmark software and MSI Apps, you can increase your computer's overall performance for free at the cost of lifetime, computer components lifetime. But chances are, if you're very good at using computers and you know how to overclock, you're going to be upgrading your computer every once in a while to where the lifeline doesn't really affect you. You know, the lifetime, I'm sorry, I'm very much tired. It is 1:50 in the morning. But that's really all I have to say. Overclocking is safe. It should really be done with anybody who has a strong technology understanding and who is very not mentally impaired, and they can overclock just to get a free performance increase. That's all I have to say, and always thanks for watching.